All right. All right, guys. First things first, CNFR day 2 gap up. So, as we know, the day 2 gap up, we're looking for, this is our target right here. Yesterday's high. Look what happened when it hit yesterday's high. All right. So, the farther we gap off of that, the better, obviously. Common sense. So, when the stock's up here, we're saying, oh, where are we looking for? We got pivots. We got to go over here, mark our levels. Mark out levels that we can risk off of, right? Find our pivots. Find our pivots, the clearest pivots on the chart. Oops. And then we're looking at the 10-minute EMA chart. We're saying, wow, this thing's going to be gapping up pretty far off the 10-minute 2134. Solid level here to come back to. We want to get it off of there. Then we keep this on the side and we put the 1-minute chart on with the pre-market data on. Now, guys, look, the pivot. This is not where you want to short. You don't want to short. But on a day 2 gap up, when you get a top set like this, enough drop that could be the top set and showed enough weakness, you can trade in the pre-market in lower high position. All you have to do is wait for it to stop bouncing, put your fibs on, and you want to be up into here. Ideally, the 78% fib, but as long as it gets over the 61%, the risk reward isn't as good as up here, but somewhere in here, anywhere above 61 fib or higher is ideal. So now, because this rejected in pre-market started to sell off, we had to wait for a pop to short. I knew it wasn't going to go back up here again because it already made a lower high and the gap was still pretty decent. So really, all we needed to do now was wait for a pop and rejection. And if you look right here, guys, this wick down, is this even, wait, is this different? This isn't what happened on fucking, this, is this the same thing as on DAS? Because that looks different than what I remember at the open. But anyway, guys, the pop right here, you can either 2-bullet it. I shut my DAS off. Guys, does this look like it does on DAS? I feel like that's not what happened at the open. It only dipped a little and then pushed, right? It didn't come all the way down to yesterday's high. No fucking way. Didn't come down here, though. Anyways, whatever. If it came down here, I wouldn't have shorted this pop right here. But it only dipped a little, still had plenty of room to the gap. And then look, you guys. Pop, pop, right here. This is a trigger. This is a fake breakout trigger right here. Now, you can either 2-bullet it, but then you have a much, much, much wider stop, and you're saying, where am I going to stop out? Right here, right here. Or you wait for a trigger and jam your stop. It pops up, it comes down, it pops up, fake breakout. That's a fake breakout trigger right there. And then you friggin', it comes down here and comes down here and comes down here. And guess what? Goes all the way to where it should go, yesterday's high. But I also want you to pay attention on these kind of stocks, or you might be scared. Guys, if you might be scared at the open, you have to pay attention to the volume. This, look, right here, only 1 million, 1.5 tops. That's not really that crazy. When these start pushing 2.5, 3 million, then you've got to be careful how hard they can push. But that is, you know, obviously it would have been nice to get in up here, risking off the true high, but sometimes you got to anticipate what's going to happen. Because day 2 gap ups quite often just friggin' pop a little and then come all the way back down to fill the gap. And then they also come back to where? If the gap fill lines up with the 10-minute EMAs, they're probably going to have a little bounce fest from here. And they might eventually break, but this is a great place to take most of your profits. That's why we want, really, the bigger, higher the fire, higher it is off there, the better. So that played out perfect. Every day 2 gap up that we get plays out perfect almost. We pretty much it's just, they work great. I love day 2 gap. It's one of my favorite setups, especially when they start to sell off in the pre-market a little bit, but not too much. So, one sec, you guys. No, I'll text her back. No, no. All right, so that was a great one. Next, we had WISA. Guys, the reason why I didn't love WISA, now, like I said, it's okay to trade in lower high position, but you got to understand, right? Look at this, dude. Look, if you have to zoom in on your chart, this many times, that shit is whack, dude. That's it. You don't even have to look at the chart. You don't even have to look at the chart. If you put on the friggin', if you go like this on the 3-year, 1-day chart on TOS, and you got to go like this, you didn't got to look at the chart. You already know it's whack because you had to zoom in too much. So look. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Like I'm going to trade this little fucking blimp down here. Looks like an ant crawling on the side of the world. Didn't even make a friggin' micro move. Especially when there's no pivot really until like right here that is makes it extended enough. So that being said, if the stock doesn't spike to exactly where we want, what do? The stock, damn, fucking ASTS 3620 gonna break out again. Fuck. Guys, if the stock doesn't spike exactly to we want, but we see it hit another pivot, what do? We fucking, well, first of all, we go like this. Ignore, dude. That was my long from yesterday. Swing long from yesterday. Fucking beast mode. Anyways, guys, if we have a pivot, right? If we have a pivot, right, a lot lower, well, then what do? We have to wait for it to show that the top is set and then wait for lower high because you don't want to short it down here. Yes, you get a fake breakout. Wait, this is all the way down at 250. So let's go. Look how low this pivot is. Dude, like I want to trade this pivot right here. Look at this. The daily EMAs right here and that pivot right there. Like I'm going to jam my trade in here. Look at that, dude. That's zero range. Literally, like the daily EMAs right here and this level right here. I want to short like this. Who shorts right here when this is the range you have? It's called Kentucky Fried Dickin'. This is gay right here. Retarded. This is desperate degenerates short right here. Now, that being said, if the stock gives you a fake breakout trigger like this, a really good fake breakout trigger at the pre-market high, and then you can take that. Because look, guys, if this pops, it's a key level right here. It pops, boom, it slams. You can short right here, 245, risking 6 cents. Guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just made a 9-hour trade. Or you can short right here on lower high position, as always. But in lower high position, you have to risk off here unless you have a really good stuff like this and you can jam your stop. Now, if you're risking off right here, 230, you're risking about 20 cents, guys, on a non-all-day fake criteria that doesn't have a lot of range. Yeah, that's up to you. How much size you trade with, whatever. You might get a couple 2, 3 hour trade. Not a bad trade. It's never a bad trade if you have a daily level in a trigger or a daily level in a lower high position trigger. So as long as the stock is gapped up over 45%, I don't care if you friggin', as long as you get a trigger and a trigger, it's not a bad trade. Then it just comes down to preference. If you're trading a lot of size or if you're trading $50 or $100 risk, it's much easier to trade in these tight ranges. If you're trading thousands of shares, it's a little more risky because shit can get crazy real quick like this, right? You short this lower high, it's coming down, starts to curl up. Now, guess what? You go to get out and you get stopped out up here. Even if you had your stop right here. Even if you had your stop right here above that high, I guarantee you got stopped out up here. Or if you had a stop with a market order, you got stopped out here. If you had a stop with a limit order, you might not got stopped out at all. If that thing blew past your 5 cents stop limit, you might not have got stopped at all. You might have got skipped. So that's why you have to be careful. And this all happened because of one simple thing. This chart sucks. That's all there is to it. This chart sucks. And longs, looking at this, longs say, if I get in somewhere down here, right, I can risk off this low and I can take this maybe all the way back up to here. Who knows? This could go all the way to fucking, look, who knows where this could go? So longs are thinking, damn, look at that. That's a lot of range. As opposed to some stocks where this is as high as they've been as the past, right? And then the stock's gapping up to here. All right? This is as high as they've been in the past and the stock's gapping up to here. These are the stocks right here that I want to fucking, this is where you want to live. If you can live in this zone on every stock, this is where the stock's been recently, as high as it's been, and this is where it's friggin', and this is where it's gapping up to today. That's where you want to live, in this zone right here. That's Those are the ones you punch as many odds as you can on. Right? That's where you want to be living right here. Whether this is down here or up there, whatever. Point is, you're gapping up relatively high compared to where the price action has been before. It's not a little fucking blimp on the fucking radar to where the price has been before, with EMA support and everything else below it, right? So that's always one of my favorite kind of setups. The other thing is too, guys, remember, right? The reason why this is, look, again, right? 1.7, 2.7, that's a little like, if this started to push, I would be cautious. But since it's stuffed, okay, no big deal. Becomes a big red stuff candle. You always want to be watching these, right? Because let's say the ones that go like this, let's say you want this to go back to lower high position right here, right? Let's say the price action was up here, okay? The pre-market price action was up here. And then it comes down to here. And it opens right here. Now, let's say you're watching, all right? Let's say you're watching right here. You want to push up the lower high position, right? You want this to push up to here, but only on like hundreds of thousands of volume. Or 1 million, 1.5. You don't want it to be flying up to here on 3, 4 million, 5 million shares, because that's getting a lot of demand behind it, a lot of power. It can get crazy fucking crowded and just, you always pay attention. If the stock's pushing higher and the volume's getting weaker and only has a couple 100,000, 500,000, a lot of times they just go, whoop, come right back down. So pay attention to that when you're trading, especially if you're looking for a spike into a key level. Damn, ASST just grinding on that 10-minute, 21. Yeah, so that was a pretty, whatever. Good triggers. Good trigger on pre-market high and key daily level, and good trigger in low high position. Just not a lot of range, and you can't really have an all-day fade criteria, guys, when you have a stock that has just too little of a beat-down range, because you have a super high chance that this will do what it did, right? It'll either turn into a stock that makes a bottom tail and runs, or a doji like this, because you already had the flush down and gap up, right? There's not a really good chance of these stocks that come all the way down to $1 already and gap up that they're just going to go like this from here. Very, very slim chance it's going to paint stripe from here after it already was at it was already at $1 and it bounced off it. So if it gaps up off $1 is probably the lowest it's going to go. There's a slim chance of this like paint striping from here after it already just gapped up off $1, right? So that happens sometimes, but usually not when a stock's pushing off right off near $1. Right? So just be aware of that stuff and understand the most important thing on these gappers is where the price action has been relatively to before. All right? Sometimes we get these ones that are just like so perfect. They have good gap stats. They have a big gap and they're gapping up like into like pretty deep into where the price action was before, into good resistance levels. Like if this, popped up to like here, yeah, forget about this. This is really high. But if this gapped up like, into here at least, or into here, that would have been much better. The gap would have been much bigger, much more room to fade. And then I bet you, if this gapped up to here, you wouldn't have had that crazy spike. Because it would have just literally friggin' probably paint striped from here. It would have just then you would have had way more room to just keep dumping and not recover with a crazy spike, because we already spiked pretty big. Then you have this come like that, back to the EMAs. That would have been much more likely to happen if we gapped up farther into this price. And guys, look, see all this volume right here? All this volume right here is a much better defense system than what? With these shitty fucking pivots. This right here, all this is a much better defense system for this stock to reject than, look at this. Touch. All this volume area is a much better defense system than what? This little fucking shit down here. Not even at this pivot. These little things right here. What's this? This ain't a fucking pivot. This ain't even a pivot. This is one little candle. Boop, 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 boop. Right? This is an ultimate low pivot. Yeah, but it's like still so far down where the price has been. So, just realize they count as pivots, but you really don't want to trade them unless you get really good triggers that you can see, obvious, like it gave you. All right? What was the other one? WINT, did that? What was that one? Oh, no. WINT was the... Oh, it didn't even make it. Look, this didn't even make it back to the 8. That's funny. This thing didn't even flag off the 8. How are you going to trade that? The only thing that would possibly have been okay on this to me is if this spiked back to the 8. Because look, riding down it, riding down it, riding down it. I can't trade it that far from the 8. Too extended. If this intraday spiked up towards here, anywhere near it where I know it could pull it back down, then I would have possibly traded it. But I set a price there, it didn't go off. We got another lower high right here. Guys, look, because this would have spiked up to the 8 and also, look, right near the 8 into low high position of this last candle. I would have traded that. Also have this kind of like, I would have considered trading if it gave a good, you know, a good trigger at that level. But it was just way too far off the 8. Way too far. As you see on the way up, look. Back to the 8, back below the 8, back to the 8, back to the 8, right? So why, on the way up, if it's coming back through the 8 even, why would I trade it on the way down below the 8 when the stock has a history of going through the 8, 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 through the 8? So now why on the downside am I going to trade it way below the 8 when it already shows me that it can go back through the 8? So go back through the 8 again, then maybe I'll show you. Be a detective. Detective. Look at the price action and be a detective. The one and only ASST. ASST. Also a beatdown chart. But guys, we get a lot of beatdown charts lately, right? It's just what they do. A beatdown. But look at this, guys. Who's a detective? Look. Lower high position. Look. Lower high position. Lower high position. Lower high position. Lower high position. Oops, that one only went to the 50 fib, but you guys get the message. You get the idea, right? Look, only the 50 fib, but watch. But wait, there's more. This one ended up being a double top, but look at this one. Right next to it. Boom. Boom. Lower high position. Look. Guys, this is how stocks fucking trade. Look. See that? Now look at this. Boom. Now look. Boom. Right? This is how stocks move. If you put it there, it almost made it to the 61 fib. If you put it there, it's in low high position again. If you put it there, it's in low high position again. If you put it right here, then you move this to right here. Boom, low high position. It's the way stocks fucking move. Look. Here to here, low high position. All right, so dude, this thing is fucking magical. Now, that being said, we already know that the stock makes low high position 1,000 times a week. So what do we expect? What do we expect again? We put our fibs on. From the top swing high to the swing low. All right? Swing high. And also, guys, take note. 8 cross over the 2134. First pullback to the 2134. Skyrockets at night. Anyways, guys, look at these candles. What do we see a history of? Besides lower high position. Anyone? Yeah! Look. Topping tail. Topping tail. Topping tail. So am I to believe that this is going to go up here into the lower high position and then close strong on a day 2 when it hasn't done that in its whole fucking life? Look, gap up. Well, that's a gap down. But look, this one is a gap up, closes red. Spike, closes weak. Spike, closes weak. Spike, closes weak. So why would I believe that this is going to close strong today when it goes up into low high position? I wouldn't. So now what am I doing? The stock's down here at the open. I'm not trying to short it because I think it's going to go to low high position because they all go to low high position. It's not magic. I'm not thinking like, wow, JJ's got some super magical thing that he's doing. No, they all go to low high position, so this one will go too, or I won't trade it. If it doesn't go to low high position, I'm not going to trade it. Okay, so we're just waiting at the open. We're waiting at the open for $3 plus. Here it goes. It's starting to go. Now I start to watch it. It's going, it's going, it's going. I'm not trying to catch the top because I don't know where it's going to stop in lower high position, right? But I do know one thing. Once I see this stuff trigger and I see this reversal volume right here that starts to give me a clue. Look, volume, 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 boom. This candle right here on reversal volume. Higher than that and higher than that. The highest volume of the day starts to give me a clue that the top could be near. Now, boom, huge stuff trigger off of the fucking 78% fib. Now what do? I just throw my fibs on here and I wait for the best risk reward position, which is what? Lower high position. So the stock comes flying back up. Soon as I start to see this top and tail start to reject, short, 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 short. Risking the highs. And then it comes down. I didn't cover, actually I might have covered a little right here or right there. And then boom, it goes back up. Now, right here, I didn't add on the microphone, but I added in real life because I thought it was too scary for you guys to add. I thought it was better to just keep your risk. And then I put my stop at not just over this high. Why? Because we don't stop out in front of $half and whole dollars. Because only dummies stop out in front of $half and whole dollars. Because $half and whole dollars have tons of orders piled up at them that can act as support and resistance. So we don't want to stop out in front of those orders. So my stop was at 352. And this is also why I believe that when people cry about market makers being able to see your stops, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's stops everywhere. So they'll never end if they want to stop out all the stops. They can just keep fucking stopping out forever. It's got to stop somewhere. So it doesn't matter if they can see them or not. Because the stops at 352, stops at 360, stops at where are they going to stop it? To the rest of the moon? To where all the stops? So whatever. Who cares if they can see them? They're going to still stop it where they stop it. And where the big orders come in, other big orders to protect your orders, which is at $half and whole dollars. So, boom, and then it dumps. Now what do? Start selling off. Well, we take a little profits back down at key levels, right? Why? Because we switched to the 5-minute chart, which is much clearer to see now. We have a key level right here. We lock a little profits in right there. Right? Yesterday's high because it could break out and retest and want to keep going. After we broke a little profits there, what do I do now? At this point, I delete all this crap off my chart because now it's a fucking mess. And I just go like this. Switch to the 10-minute EMAs with the I put my fibs back on because I like to know where the fibs are that worked. All right? I put my fibs back on. I take the pre-market data. I shut it off because I don't need it anymore. Because now I only trust this. And then what do I do from here? Once I know where the 10-minute EMAs are, I switch back to the daily chart. And I look. Okay. I like this level right here too. I like this level right here too. So now I have a super clean chart with pivots and 10-minute EMAs because that's all I give a shit about. All right? And I'm watching. And I like these multi-touch pivots right here too. So now that's it. Now I expect the top and tail still. And I expect this thing to fucking dump eventually. Maybe it wants to do one more of these little algo things like this. Maybe it wants to pull some shit like this, but guess what? At the end of the day, it will go like this and probably like that. So let it do its fucking thing and try to fucking wear people out. And then fucking we'll be sitting here like this just waiting for the fucking floor to fall out when it happens. All right? And why will that happen? Because of this. That's right. My brain has the 61 fib blown into it. I know exactly where it is at all times. So if this doesn't just go like this and then dump, it'll do that and then probably dump. Now, it could definitely curl off the 10-minute EMAs and go back up, but because of the daily chart and because of all the top and tails that it makes, I don't really think that that's going to happen. But The only thing, if it does happen, you guys, I'll tell you this. If it does happen, it's because of this. It's because this is a fucking seriously beat down chart. But also, look, guys. Look. One lower high dump. One lower high dump. One double top dump. One lower high dump. Dump. So should this be any different? Eventually come back down? Probably. But if not, it's because this is very beat down. Anyways, that's that. So that's the fucking... That's what I'm looking for. Just crack these things eventually. Come back down here maybe. Maybe not by the end of the day, but maybe down to here. We'll see. We shall see. Now, off to the magnificent ASTS. Does everybody understand ASTS? What I was looking at with that? Guys, strong stocks are strong. Weak stocks are weak. Anyone who's read a lot of trading books understands that if you're trying to long stocks that are going down and you're trying to short stocks that are going up, most of the time you're doing it ass backwards. If you're thinking, oh, this has gone up too much, so it has to go down. Or this has gone down too much, so it has to go up. It's not true. So, a chart that looks like this is 10 times better to long than a chart that looks like this. And you're like, oh shit. Now, don't get me wrong, if we come down to a key support and we do a secret setup, I'll fucking long it. But in general, guys, this is what you want to trade long. This is an uptrending, clear, look, uptrending, 21, almost a 21. Big, strong move up. Look at that. Strong move up. Flag off D8. Flag up D8. Now we're back to the 21. All right? And we're curling off the 21. Curling off the 21. We know it could easily go back to lower high position because stocks don't go straight down. No, they don't go straight down. They go down. They make lower high. They go down more. So, now, I see this on the daily chart right here yesterday. I'm like, ooh, we had a topping tail, but we made a bottom tail off the 8 again. And we made a little higher low. So, I like this right here because I also see a perfect trend line that's about to crack. Right? This is what I saw yesterday. I saw a trend line. I saw a first pullback to the 21 on this big ass move. And then I put on the hourly chart. And look, I saw key level of support. I saw 1, 2, 3. I saw many times we held this level. And then I adjust my trend line based on the hourly chart, right? So yesterday I'm thinking, dude, this thing looks like it's like wants to break that trend line. Then I go down to the 10-minute chart. All right, down to the 10-minute chart. And now look what I got. I got a dirty birdie squeeze right on the 10-minute charts near the end of the day. And I say, this thing looks like it wants to fucking rip off this and go break that trend line. It's flagging. Right now I can get in at 29 and some change, risking friggin' 27 and some change. I can risk $2 and I can take it back to lower high position, which is how many dollars away? $6 away. So I get at least a 3-hour trade. Right? So that's exactly what I was thinking of. But the problem is we had this massive fucking spike in pre-market. So what ended up happening was in pre-market, when it spiked straight up to here, I said, oh, let me lock some in because I don't like when you get these big fucking $2 or $3 spikes. Now, in reality, it doesn't look that big anymore. But I don't like when you get these big spikes because that's usually what happens after a big spike. So if I entered right here at 29.40, guess what happened? I took some profits over here, and then it came all the way back down and wicked me out. Now, what I should have done, what I always do, is I don't get out unless it closes below the 10-minute chart. But that's because, guys, the thing is, if this stock didn't make this huge spike, it would just slowly started grinding, it would have pulled the 10-minute EMAs up. This spike and come back down so fast, the 10-minute EMAs didn't really go anywhere. So what happened is, look. What happened is this. Look, the 10-minute EMAs pretty much stayed where they were. It went up, it came back down, broke the 10-minute EMAs. Now, normally, I would only get out if a candle closes below the 10-minute 21.34. So this gaps up, comes back down, it goes like this, whoop, closes up here. That's a serious long trigger right here. This right here, under, over, reclaim, boom, long. Now, unfortunately, I was pouting like a baby that it came all the way back down after I only took half off. So I didn't just pay attention and say, hey, dude, just get back in right here and risk. Now I can risk right here. I could have even better trade because it came up, came down, boom, boom. I enter at 29.77. I could have had $1 risk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours easy. So now where did it go? Exactly to where we said. Back to lower high position. Why? Because that's how stocks move. Now that could either keep going, it could reject lower high position, or it could go to double top, or it could break out. I don't give a shit because when I long down here, I'm deep in the money in lower high position. So it really doesn't matter what happens now. Whether it goes like this, or it goes like chicka, 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 then breaks out, or it just breaks out. I don't care because when you long way below lower high position on a super bullish chart, you're styling and profiling. So that's all that matters. All right? So that is why I took the trade. And if you put your circle thing on here, you'll see what ended up happening. It's a perfect fucking rounded bottom. If you move this over here to these two, you see you have a bottom, rounded. This is a rounded bottom. And breakout volume. So hopefully this doesn't just keep flying to the moon because I'll be extra salty. Extra salty. Now the other thing is, see I was a little off the 8. That's what I was saying yesterday. Now it has pulled the 8 up a little bit, but yesterday the 8 was way down here. That was the only thing that made me like, I'm going to long this, but I'm just a little weary because the 8's a little far away. But ended up working perfect because strong stocks stay strong and weak stocks stay weak. Hey, ASST. Trying to lose the 10-minute EMAs maybe. Just snap, you know you want to. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Any other tickets anyone wants to go over? Oh, guys, AMD. So, guys, what happened with AMD was, look, let me just change this to 3421. Okay. See how AMD gapped up? It ended up being a little over those. I still had the 50 here, right? That's not ideally what you want to see, though. All right? You don't want it to really gap up over those. But I saw this come down today. I saw it go like this, popped up, rejected right there. So I shorted it right there. I covered some on the flush, but now I'm like, damn. Now it's starting to reclaim. Now look at it. It's above the 21, and it's starting to reclaim the 34. So I'm like, eh. So once it started to push back up after it held for like 10, 20 minutes, I just cut it right here. Then it started to dump. I was pissed, and then it reclaimed, so that's good. And then now, these are actually pretty good longs right here and right here, 10 minute 21, because it has room to go. Look. But that was why. Normally, guys, this will be this candle. Normally, this thing's extended like this. This candle right here will be right here. You want this to be like this. You know, you want this to open like this. Open a little gap, a decent little gap, but below the 34 at least, right? And then it freaking pops into the 34, rejects, and it comes down here to this gap fill, and then you're done. You get a quick over, under, you short it with your stop at 39.85, short it, risk it 60 cents, boom, boom, boom. You cover into this, see if it's going to break down or not, but you're out most of your shares right here. It's a quick little 10-minute EMA scalp. And the only reason why I wouldn't make it more of that, guys, look, the reason why I didn't think it would go lower is because of this. Look, I'm not trying to take the 10-minute EMAs and break the 61 fib because that's probably not going to happen without a fight. Now, if this stock was up here still, rejecting the 10-minute EMAs, I would be like, oh, right here, rejecting the 10-minute EMAs, below the daily EMAs, rejecting the 10-minute EMAs, I would take the long, I would take the short and hope and expect it to break down and keep coming towards where? High or low position, just like the other way around. Because this is where I think the stock will go to, right? Just like right here. Look, pops up, comes back, 61 fib, holds. Just like the fucking other way around, right? Look, it's the same shit. I don't give a fuck what stock. I don't give a fuck what fucking thing. Sometimes they only make it to the 50 fib, but most of the time they come down lower. I don't care what stock you're talking about. Look. Oopsie. Hold on. See this? Look. Boop. Boop. Comes back right to there. High or low position. This one comes down. 50% fib. Look. This one. This low now. You put it to the previous high. Look. Back to high or low position. And then it goes. And so on 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 and so on. And that's the way they go. If you do your fucking fibs, look. I don't care where you put these things. It's all the same shit. They either go mostly to the 50 fib or to the 61.78 fib. Oh, shit. Guess who's back? Back again. Right? Same shit. You put this right here. And you move this one up to here. Oh, shit. Guess who's back? Back again. It's just the way stocks move, dude. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, man. Just the way it is. So, that's that. That's the way it goes. Look. Let me move this down to here. Look. I don't know, dude. It's like magic, man. It's like magic. Anyways. So, yeah. That's why it gives you the best risk reward when you're in the low high position or high or low position, because it gives you the best risk reward off the previous place that it failed or that it held. Anyways. Alright, that's a 37-minute video. That's getting long, so see you guys in the chat. Thank you.